Hello, hello. Welcome to this edition of the Cancer Coach Talks. I'm your host, Leslie Nance, and tonight we're going to be talking about our doctors. Remember the old saying, or a saying that people ever used to say kind of as a joke, you can trust me, I'm a doctor. Tonight, we're going to talk about our relationship with our doctors and how it affects our health and how it affects our outcome of our treatment path. So, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. If you are new to me, thank you so much for finding me and for tuning in here. If you're joining in live tonight or you're watching replay, either here on Facebook or over on YouTube, we certainly appreciate it when you guys are here. We love your comments. We love your shares. Make sure you're following us so that you can get up to the date information when we do go live. And so just all around big like celebrations and thank yous for all of that. We definitely rely on your support for helping us spread the word about how to keep the body inhospitable to cancer and disease. And quite honestly, you never know whose life you could change just with a simple share of information like I'm going to share with you today. So, hi, Anne Marie. It's good to see you. Thank you guys so much for popping in so early this evening. It's good to have you here live with us to the live audience. If you're here and joining in, just make sure that you say hello in the comments because I know people are here, but I don't know if you're who it is until you actually leave a comment for us. So tonight I want to talk about a very important and very fundamental piece of the puzzle when it comes to healing your life from cancer. And that is the relationship, probably the most relationship outside of the relationship with yourself and your own body that you have in your healing journey. And that is the relationships that we have with our medical doctors. And so I want to talk about that today and talk about how a poor relationship actually can affect our outcomes and what a good relationship does for us when we have a good relationship with our doctors. And so there was a survey done. Hi, we have an Anne Marie and an Anne Marie. It's good to have you here. So thank you guys for being here this evening. But it is reported that 95% of people make one huge mistake that can actually cost them their lives. And that is the fact that we stop being curious when we are diagnosed with cancer. And what happens is that we get into this do mode. I have cancer. I've got to fix cancer. And to fix cancer, I need to do XYZ, blah, 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 blah. And so we have a lot of moving parts when it comes to a cancer journey or cancer diagnosis. And we get caught up in the do of a cancer journey. And we get into emergency mode and rightfully so. I mean, cancer is cancer, right? But we forget to be curious. We forget to ask good questions. We forget to engage when it comes to our own abilities and our own understanding about what creates health in our life. And so what happens is that we get a diagnosis and we stop asking questions. And when we do ask questions, we're not very good at it. we the anybody want to well, we don't have time to have you wait for answers because there's a lag in Facebook and commenting, but I want you to think to yourself about what is the number one question that people ask when they are diagnosed with cancer. The number one question that people ask when they are diagnosed with cancer, and this is proven actually, there's records of this through different types of studies, is how long do I have to live? Or will I live? Or, how long do I have, doctor? Is this going to kill me? We always ask questions around our mortality, but that is not the right question. The right question is asking, how do I survive this? And that comes later on, after the shock is worn off, after we get a little bit more grounded in what is happening to us. Then we start to ask questions like that sometimes, not always. That's not really what I want to talk about tonight. I really don't want to talk about the different questions to ask your oncologist to get, but I just use that as an example is that we lose curiosity and we start focusing on just the bare necessities of the situation. Where does our curiosity go? What happens to it? Well, it flees when we are contemplating our own mortality. It flees when we're contemplating suffering. It flees when we start, thinking about cancer staring us down. We lose our curiosity because sometimes we're afraid of the answer. And so we don't have good questions and answers. We don't do a good job of that. Cancer is dangerous, and we ask the questions to see or to think about, is this going to kill us? The second most prevalent problem that we have when it comes to being curious or being intimidated, even by a situation, or not getting the answers that we need, is because we're intimidated by our doctors. We get intimidated by a conversation with a doctor. One, maybe because we don't want to hear what they have to say. Two, maybe you don't trust them. Or three, you don't feel like that they have your best interest at heart. Maybe they're pushing something that doesn't sit well with you and they won't take no for an answer, right? This is the second most prevalent problem. There's actually a study published by Health Affairs, and Health Affairs actually is responsible for is responsible for understanding people's responses to a health crisis or to a projected treatment path. And so they do these studies and ask all of these questions, these surveys. And there was a study done by Health Affairs about how people interact with their doctors. Most people responded that they felt limited. This was a quote from the study, that they felt limited or almost trapped into speaking with their doctors a very certain way. They didn't feel like that they could just have an open conversation with their doctors. There was an intimidation there, or there was not a good relationship, or maybe they weren't feeling heard, or maybe they were afraid of what their doctors were going to say back to them. Part of that study, there was another, as they asked more questions around collaboration, essentially, and how a person would like to collaborate with their doctor. They said this: my doctor is often acts as an authoritarian rather than authoritative. That was a common response. My doctors are very authoritarian. In other words, they're very like my way or the highway, instead of authoritative or confident about your treatment path. So we felt like that they were not collaborating with us. We feel like they're telling us what to do instead of making a suggestion about what to do. Now, we have all been there before. We have all had this at some point in our journey or in our health experience with a doctor. We've experienced this before, when you feel like they're talking at you and not speaking with you, not helping collaborate with you on a good solution. Some people even went as far as to say that they feared retribution by doctors who could have an impact on their care and their well being. What? They thought their doctors were going to retaliate if they asked questions, if they appeared to be a bother, if they appeared to take up too much time, if they appeared to not be compliant. That they feared, if they wanted a second opinion, they feared retribution from their doctors, the doctors who are there to care and love them through a process towards healing. Let me just say right now, if you do not have rapport or trust with your doctors, It's a huge mistake. You are making a massive mistake. And I'm going to tell you a little story. I'm going to tell you a little story about this because I think that this is really important. My own story. I was asking around when it came to the determination that I was going to need an oncologist. They were going to set me up with an oncologist. I asked around. I asked everybody. I asked my surgeon. I asked my primary care. I asked friends, family. I asked my friends and family to ask their friends and family. Who do you recommend for the type of cancer I have? What doctor would you recommend? And every single person almost came back with the same doctor. She is the best. I was in Northern Colorado at the time. She is the best of the best. You will not find a better oncologist than this doctor. Cool. So many people say it. You're like, well, let's go. I looked her up. Her health ratings were really high. People loved her. So I make an appointment. I'm actually really excited to see her. I go in to her doctor's office. First of all, they made me wait forever because she was so busy. And I go and I'm nervous anyway, because I'm going to get some big news coming, from this, from my, from pathology and really just getting more details about what my treatment path was going to be going forward. So I was kind of nervous and, but also looking forward because I was ready to move forward. I was ready to make some decisions. And she came in. And so she came in and she sat down and actually I met with her PA and then she came in and she sat down. We proceeded to have a conversation. She would not listen to me. I would ask a question or my husband would ask a question. She would cut us off and say, well, this is da 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 da. She would not hear my concerns. I expressed several concerns about her proposed treatment path and she would not listen to me. And in fact, she's the one when you hear me say, if you don't do everything that I'm telling you to do, if you've been around me long enough, you've heard me say this before, because this is what she said to me. If you don't do everything that I'm telling you to do, that cancer will be back in a year and it'll be all over your body and there won't be anything I can do for you at that point. That's that doctor. She was the best of the best, sir. Everybody said so. Everybody said that she was the one. She was the person to go to. So I sat there scratching my head going, why does everybody want to come see this woman? I got up, I got my purse. I started walking out the door. My husband got up with me, started walking out the door. And she's like, okay, well, really good meeting. And it was really nice to meet you. And I look forward to working with you. And don't forget to make your next appointment. I turned around, I looked at her and I said, there will be no next appointment. I'm done here. Oh, well, remember what I told you? Yeah, that's the one. That's the thing that put the nail in the coffin for this relationship. I marched right out of there. Nope. I don't care how good you are at your job. If I am not confident that you can help me, if I do not have a belief system, if I don't have a good relationship with you, the person that's supposed to be there to help me through this health crisis, you are not my people. So my surgeon said, he recommended this first doctor as well. And I love my surgeon. Most surgeons are very gregarious and they're very, most people love their surgeon like best of all. And because that's the kind of rapport you have with your surgeon for one reason or another. Well, I speculate, but we won't go into that tonight. But so he recommended another doctor. I told him, I was like, he's like, yeah, I've heard that before. She's a really good doctor, but if she's not your thing, then go see this doctor. And so I did. I went to go see Dr. Gina Brown, who was a breast cancer survivor and this fantastic woman. And we sat down and she spent the first consultation with me. She spent like almost an hour with me, listening to me, hearing me. And when I told her, I said, I'm not ready to make a decision about treatments. And she said, that's okay. You go think about it. You have all the information, make a good decision. I'll talk to you in a few weeks. Okay. Okay. That sounds amazing. Thank you. I felt heard. I felt cared for. I felt like she respected And ultimately, when I told her that I was not going to do most of her treatments that she was recommending, she didn't say, it'll be back in a year and it'll be all over your body and there won't be anything you can do about it. She said, Leslie, if you're not going to do what I recommend, I respect that you have a different way that you want to treat this, but what are you going to do? And she changed my life with that one statement. What are you going to do? That set the gears in motion for the reason of ultimately of why I'm sitting here today as a certified holistic cancer coach, a certified holistic nutritionist, helping hundreds of people through the year, every single year, heal through the process of my program. That one statement set all that in motion for me. She was my people. She was willing to listen to me. She wasn't the number one that came up, but she was there for me. She still is, by the way. She's an amazing woman. And so if you feel helpless, if you feel at odds, if you feel helpless against your doctor's orders, if you feel helpless, now there's one thing being stubborn and being a shit. There's something completely different when you just don't have any emotional vibration towards a person that is there to help you. If you're constantly butting heads, are you leave feeling worse than when you went in? What kind of doctor is that? Maybe they're the best doctor on the planet, but maybe they're not your doctor. You need to find a new doctor. If you're not even sure that you can say to your doctor, I'm not sure that this is the best treatment path for me without feeling scolded or reprimanded or being feared into something. If you can't say that honestly with them, then you need a new doctor. If you don't feel heard, if you don't feel respected, if you don't feel they're taking the time, again, I want to qualify you're a piece of this puzzle too. You can't be a turkey. You got to have your act together as well. Can't be demanding. You can't be insistent. You've got to be a team player as well. But if you're feeling all the time that you're not being respected in this process, you need a new doctor. If you're scared to fire your doctor, you need a new doctor. You need to fire your doctor. If you're scared to fire your doctor, then cancer is bossing you around. If you think there's going to be some sort of retribution, if you think that that doctor is going to have some sort of retaliation, then my God, what are you doing with them? If that's how you think of them and fear them, you wouldn't even be in a friendship with somebody like that, let alone somebody that you've put your lives into their hands. Your doctor should be authoritative, authoritative, not an authoritarian. I hope you understand the distinction there. They should make suggestions about a good treatment path. They should tell you their opinion. Now, sometimes, I didn't agree with Dr. Regina's opinion on a lot of things. Dr. Gina and I butted heads on several things, but she always had my best interest at heart. And she didn't turn me away or shun me because I wasn't going to do what she told me to do. And I didn't, a lot of it. She didn't let her ego stand in the way between my health and her caring for me. She respected my decisions. There are lots of doctors out there like that, you guys. Don't back your doctors into a corner. Don't push them so far. Again, remember, you are a piece of this puzzle. It is a relationship. How would you behave in a friendship or a partnership or a business relationship? That's how you should be treating that person, and they should be treating you. Anything less, you need a new doctor, or cancer is bossing you around, right? I've fired Two oncologists. Actually, yeah, no, that's true. Two different types of oncologists. I fired two oncologists and a radiation. Finally, ended up with a radiation oncologist that I loved. He was amazing, but his physician assistant was terrible. She was horrible. And I told him, I was like, I will see you all day long, but do not put me in a room with that woman. She was that same like always letting her ego get between me and my health, me and her and my health. She could never do anything wrong. If I said, I'm having this problem, could it be from XYZ? And she'd say, oh, no, 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 no. It's not that. It's not that. And then I would see the doctor and he'd be like, yeah, that's exactly what that is. Here's how you fix that. What? What? It was hard for me to believe that two polar opposites could work in the same office. And I'm sure there's some people that gravitate. They like that type of authority. They gravitate towards that. That does not work well with me. Ask my husband. You need a dreamed team of doctors that will listen to you and not belittle you or dismissive to you when you have good, curious questions. They should be willing to answer all of your questions. So, I talk a lot about being a cancer boss. One of the ways that cancer can boss you around is definitely not taking control of the situation. Not is allowing someone into your life that you feel like does not have your best interest at heart, especially when it comes to your life, especially when it comes to cancer. Then you need to give that person the boot. I know it's difficult. I know it's a pain in the butt to find a new doctor. I know you got to go through a bunch of rigmarole. I get it. Is it worth it or not? Are you worth it or not? Only you can make that determination. But I talk a lot about being a cancer boss and what that means. Showing up like a cancer boss, not letting cancer boss you around. One of the ways we do that is assembling a dream team of doctors and practitioners and mentors and people around us that are supporting us and loving us through this process. So here's some things that a cancer boss does not do. A cancer boss doesn't let a doctor run the whole show. Bottom line, doctors do not run the whole show. You need to make sure that you have a doctor that has your best interest at heart and that you trust and that you love and that you don't hate seeing. And that even if you think there's going to be bad news, you'd rather hear it from that person than anybody else. That's the type of relationship you should have. Because you don't let them run the whole show. You listen to them and you build information to create healing. A cancer boss asks loads of intelligent questions. You are a rapid fire of intelligent questions pertaining to a solution and how to get the best solution for your situation. You don't shrink and go, oh, I would have asked more questions, but they seem like they were in a hurry and I didn't want to be a bother. I don't want to bother them. What? What? They're there to serve you, to help you. Utilize them. I will tell you, every single oncologist that I work with loves when they have somebody that comes in and sits down and has intelligent questions, because they can't guess what's going on in your mindset. And a lot of times they will not project what they think is going on in your mindset, because if it's not going on in your mindset, then they could instill some sort of weird fear inside the mindset. So they won't try to guess what you're thinking. You got to communicate it and you need to get good at it. So a cancer boss asks loads of intelligent questions. A cancer boss takes the information from their team of doctors, the team of professionals, whoever they've assembled. When my clients are working with me, they take the information that I give them as well. And what they do is they make informed decisions about their treatment path. They make informed decisions about next steps and what they want to create in their health. A cancer boss has the courage and the wisdom. I'm going to really tout wisdom in this one. Wisdom has the courage and the wisdom to fire a doctor and get a second opinion. if they don't feel like that doctor is the best doctor ever. When I came away from my surgeon, I would say he's the best doctor ever. I totally trust him. I totally trust him to do exactly what he said he was going to do. One of the pieces of evidence I had for that is that my tumor was right over here in my breast. And you could actually feel it. It was very palpable. And nobody else could do this, but with his little surgeon fingers or big, whatever, his surgeon fingers, he could take and actually pull the tumor away from the other tissue and put his fingers, felt like almost all the way around it. And he'd feel it and he'd feel it and he'd feel it. And he was like, yeah, I have a really good idea. I have a really good idea about what we're working with here. And I was like, what? He was amazing. He didn't spend loads of time with me. He was very concise. I had very good questions. We had a conversation. He told me what was going to happen. I said, yes. Boom. We're on it. Doing surgery. Ready. Dr. Brown, the first time I met her, I sat down and I knew I had a connection to this woman. She's a cancer survivor. Her mother was a cancer survivor. She understood. When I talked, she listened and she was sympathetic and she was amazing. And she didn't make me feel like I was some sort of lunatic for not wanting to do chemotherapy. She listened to me. She said, I think you're making good decisions for the situation, Leslie. She encouraged me to think differently about cancer. She was there for me. Now, all of her news was not rosy. She had to deliver some pretty tough news to me on several occasions. We had a lot of conflicting pathologies. She and I had to work through that together. She was the best doctor ever. I love her. My radiation oncologist, amazing man, so caring, so gentle, so helpful, really kept me in the top peak shape as I was going, helped me through that, told him what I was doing with my diet and nutrition. He's like, good for you. Good for you. I love the initiative that you're taking. What? If you don't have doctors that you can say, this is the very best doctor ever, then you might need new doctors. And I know that can feel frustrating, but what's more frustrating? Suffering through a total cancer diagnosis, all the treatments, lacking confidence, lacking, feeling like you're not being heard, feeling like you're being belittled, feeling like that, this person doesn't have your best interest at heart. Tell me what's worse, please. I know what's worse. Cancer Bust does not do that. They talk about every single one of their doctors as that's the best doctor ever. I love to hear my clients talk about their doctors and their relationships with their doctors. Anne-Marie saying that she left her doctor because she felt like that she was just a number and not a patient. Excuse me, and not a patient. That's what she said, that last comment there. Right? If you're taking anything less than stellar treatment from your doctor as a team member, then your cancer is bossing you around. And that's all I have to say about that. All right, you guys, I hope you found this helpful, encouraging. Maybe it lit a fire underneath you. If you are listening to this tonight and you're like, wow, okay, now I need somebody to help guide me through processes like that. I need to organize my thoughts. I need to make sure that I am staying on a good path. Then I could quite possibly be your girl to help you do that. If you want to reach out to myself or to my team members, I can't always promise that it will be me on the phone call. It could be my husband who also helps me with these types of phone calls, but we are willing to hop on a phone call with you from the very beginning of this process and help you determine if we are the right people to help you. Actually, it's me that does the coaching. He just helps me with the front end of the breakthrough calls. If we know that we know 100% after that conversation that we can help you, we will make an offer to do that. If you're a good fit and it's a good fit for you, then we will invite you into the program and we will help you. If not, we will point you in the direction to get the help that you need. Any way you cut it, coming off of that phone call, it will be a very powerful hour that you will spend in your healing. So if that interests you, normally I send you to a webinar to watch a, a, a webinar before you contact us, just to make sure that we're hitting on all cylinders. And you're welcome to do that as well. I'll drop that link, but I'm also going to drop our direct booking link. We do have times going into next week, which is a little rare. Normally, we don't have such an open calendar, but we do have some times, I believe at the end of this week and then going into next week, that you can speak with one of us. Again, I can't promise it's going to be me. It might be him, but it will be one of us. But our promise to you is to love you and serve you. If you want to be heard, then that phone call is the right place for you, because we are going to listen. We are going to learn what your needs are, and we are going to love you through that entire process of that phone call. It is completely free. And again, if you're a good fit, we'll make an offer for the program, and we'll talk about that in detail. If not, we will move you to a place where you can get the very best help for your situation. So either way, getting a massive outcome when it comes to these breakthrough calls that we offer.